Hi there, and welcome to the Cotswold Explorer. I'm Robin Shuckburgh, and you find me, Widget and Ross in the hills just north of Winchcombe, about to visit the ruins of Hales Abbey, once one of the most spectacular medieval ecclesiastical buildings in the whole country. Descending from Farmcot through the wood, we find ourselves in a green coombe, shut in by hills on all sides except the north. On our right is the parish church. In the meadow on our left, a square plot enclosed by 4 ruined walls. This is the cloister garth of the once famous Cistercian monastery of Hales. Nothing else remains. The splendid church, the conventual buildings, the approaches, the gatehouse, the precinct walls, all have gone. There is nothing above ground but these ruined walls to tell of the vast edifice of which they once formed so small a part. A few years would suffice for the destruction of all that for 3 centuries had been the object of veneration. Neither here nor at Winchcombe, 2 miles away, was it any outburst of popular fanaticism or any violent manifestation of popular hostility that overthrew the shrines and pulled down the walls of these 2 magnificent churches. The demolition was deliberate and systematic. It was a mere matter of business proceeding upon a cool calculation of profit and loss. That these buildings were landmarks in the history of the national church, that they were the supreme efforts of constructive art, was quite beside the question. It was enough that on utilitarian grounds they stood condemned. Neither of them was needed, either for a cathedral, as at Gloucester, or for a parish church, as at Tewkesbury. Why then should they any longer cumber the ground? Rather let them be swept away at once, and their materials put to some more profitable use. So, at any rate, thought the man who was responsible for their destruction, Thomas, Lord Seymour of Sudeley, Lord High Admiral of England, and brother-in-law of the King. Both abbeys had been granted to him at the dissolution in 1539, and he was not the man to lose any time in making the most of his acquisition. It would no doubt be unfair to condemn him on this count alone. 9 out of 10 men in his day, estimable citizens enough according to their lights, would have done the same, but for Thomas Seymour it is impossible on any count to feel either sympathy or respect. So thoroughly were his orders in each case carried out that not a single stone of either church remains, and it has been only in recent years that excavations have discovered their foundations and given us indisputable evidence of their former splendour. The small parish church of Hales stands close beside the abbey. Originally built in the 12th century, it passed on the foundation of the monastery into the possession of the monks, and was much altered by them. The fragments of the original church which remain are the shafts of the chancel arch and the 2 pilasters which support the south chancel wall. The site is now looked after by English Heritage, who have a fascinating visitor centre where you can find out in detail about the remarkable history of the building and wander the cloisters, imagining yourself overawed by the beauty of what used to be. We're heading up into the hills again now, into the woods, into the villages of Gwitting, and then north towards Broadway. This part of the Cotswolds is so beautiful, we're going to have a really nice journey.